Replacing a single hardwood floorboard, brought to you by hardwoodinstaller.com. First step of this project is the removal of a 2-foot long board. The blue tape indicates the end joints of the board that will be removed. Tools to be used will be a circular saw and a straight edge. After making the necessary adjustments with the depth of the circular saw, our start position is at the first blue tape line where the end joint meets, finished at the one in the upper right hand corner. The 2 red lines shown indicate the cuts made on the board. Now we chisel into the middle to make a break point to remove the board. Once the board is removed, there will be some cuts into the subfloor. This indicates that the cut was deep enough and should be no reason for alarm. Probably the most difficult part here is removing the tongue side of the board, which is on the right side of the screen where the second arrow meets. This has to be carefully removed not to damage adjacent pieces. At this time, a sharp chisel and hammer is used to pry back the last remaining piece that still has nails attached into the subfloor. Carefully remove, not to damage adjacent pieces. In this case, the installer uses a nail set to set nails into the subfloor and out of harm's way for the addition of a new board into the area. The replacement board itself has to be retrofitted to be able to fit into the area where the older board was removed. In order to install the board back into a tongue and groove floor, the bottom portion of the groove has to be removed. The tool of preference is a table saw with the blade set lower. Tongue side of the board run along the fence to remove the bottom portion of the groove. Another step would be to remove the bottom portion of the groove on the end joint. One possible additional step may be beveling the top side of the groove. This will only be needed if the floor itself was tightly fitted without any gaps or spaces. Considering the replacement piece is installed tongue into existing groove first, it allows for an easier fit. The illustration gives you a better idea where the bevels should be placed. Careful not to shave off too much material. Before we get into the actual gluing process of the new board, let's review what happened as far as retrofitting the board. Using our arrows once again, these are the areas where the bottom part of the groove was removed from the long portion and the end portion of the board. 2 new arrows represent the bevel that we made on the top of the groove. Check for fit of the replacement board, but be careful not to fit it too tight, otherwise you'll never be able to remove it before the application of glue in the next step. Near to the final step in this process of replacing a board is the application of a 2-part epoxy. Applied liberally in all areas where new wood and old wood will connect, and also the subfloor. A word of caution for replacing boards in pre-finished floors. Any 2-part epoxy can actually remove the finish of the surrounding areas. Our suggestion would be to use a urethane type adhesive that can be cleaned with mineral spirits. So why the use of an epoxy glue in this case? Simple. Our video deals with an unfinished floor. Any hardened epoxy can be sanded off once the finishing process begins. Finally, add the new piece into the floor where the damaged piece was removed. Our suggestion, use a rubber mallet to pound it into place, making sure the adhesive bonds with each other on the subfloor and the material itself. Leave overnight by placing weights into the areas. Hi, I'm Ken Fisher with hardwoodinstaller.com. Thanks for tuning in with this version of how to replace a hardwood floorboard. Expect more videos on our site over the next several months and beyond. Find us on the web. Google hardwood flooring. Look for Hardwood Flooring Guide.